Hello guys, welcome to the next episode. This one is going to be some light commentary, because I don't want to put too much effort into a voiceover, but I still wanted to do one anyways, because there's a lot that happens in this episode. Unlike the last one where there's a bunch of Skulltulas, I didn't mind just doing a quick recording for that one. However, I messed up. My dead mic happened. You can hear what it sounds like, but I'll show you after I get this because there is an item up here. With the long shot, you're able to hook onto that box and pretty much avoid having to plant a magic bean altogether. Unfortunately for me, it was only 20 rupees. That's nothing. That's Garbo. It's bleh. But anyways, here is what my old mic sounded like when it wasn't set up right. And eventually it just straight up died and wouldn't even give me this voice anymore, so I ended up returning it and buying the new headset. I talked about it last episode, but it's what it is. Anyways, after I finished up the graveyard, decided to come to Gerudo Fortress because with a long shot I can cross the bridge, there's some grottos, I can get nearly everything there, but I don't have a Pona song. Yeah, that's what I sounded like, so that's why I'm doing this voiceover. Get commentary Kirkencat for the day. Unfortunately, I didn't want to do this, so it'll be light, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up, and I do apologize that I have to go through this. Anyhow, normally there is a grotto behind this tent, but I thought it was bombable. I still can't get the chest on the left because I need the hammer, but I need the Song of Storms for that grotto. So instead, I decided I'm going to go fight the four Gerudo. I almost called them pirates, but Gerudo guards, I guess? I don't know, I have Majora's Mask names better than I do the Ocarina of Time names. The wonderful part about already having the membership card too is that I didn't have to walk and sneak around. As you saw earlier, I was able to just walk right in the open because no one's going to stall me. How they got it programmed to where these guards still attack? No idea. Props to the randomizer community. Now, I thought the safest way to do this would be to just sit there and attack. They only do about 2 hearts of damage unless the big attack happens. But just a bunch of forward attacks is the easiest way to kill them safely because they either guard or you know when to hold up your shield. It's pretty predictable. There, I got the 29th gold Skulltula. Nah, it's very close to 30. And you'll see later, without saying any spoilers, I will get the 30th Skulltula and you will see what it is. For now, I have 2 keys here. Luckily, you don't need all of the keys to fight the guards. You just need the keys to get what would be the Gerudo membership pass. So that's the only downside to not having 4 keys here. Fortunately, I'm pretty well equipped. I don't have to sneak around or hide, as I mentioned. I think this would be a good time to mention that Ocarina of Time Randomizer 6.0 is out now. Literally somewhere in between me recording this episode and me doing the voiceover for this episode. Keep in mind, I'm doing this about 2 days later, so I'm kind of commentating as I go. I'll mention after this fight. Just watch the fight. Here we get the dangerous part. Usually, you don't want to fight them on a slope because it's a greater chance they can hit you without you hitting them. Luckily, I managed to pull them up in this little corner tile and just start hacking and slashing. With a very risky jump attack that could have ended very badly. But it's called the risk for a reason. There is good old Skulltula 30. But anyhow, Randomizer 6.0. It looks fun, although there's not much different to it. However, what they did do differently is kind of game-changing. One of the options they've added which I'll start with, is the highest praise, is they've randomized the warp song locations. Now, what that means is that if you play Minuet Forest or Bolero of Fire, you could end up in any other location. Like, if I play Minuet Forest, I could end up at Death Mountain, or I could end up at the Spirit Temple. Who knows? I'm excited to play it, though. I probably won't do it for a while since it came out in the middle of this randomizer, and I don't want to do another OOG randomizer right off the bat. Well, yes, I have 2 randomizers up on my channel, and yes, they're both Zelda. This is going to be your generic gaming channel. I will be playing other games. I was having a discussion in my comments and kind of got some direction for this channel. My ultimate goal for this channel is to just play games and have fun. Like, that's pretty much it. I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm not doing this to become a full-time YouTuber. Although, that would be entertaining and it would further my hobby and such. But that's not my goal. My goal is to strictly just have fun. But, oh yeah, before I forget, you saw me get a gold rupee there. That's actually going to be important because now that I have access to the desert area, the magic flying carpet sales dude, he normally sells bomb shoes there for 200 rupees. So getting 200 rupees right before the desert entrance is pretty convenient. Alright. Luckily, this person makes me get another heart container, which is so nice. Especially to replenish the health I just lost there. But yeah, direction for the channel. The next game I will be playing, can confirm and I've already tried setting up, is I will be playing Legend of Dragoon. How I want to go about that? We will find out, because even if I play the game normally by myself and no grinding, that's still like a 35-hour game. If I were to do that in 20-minute episodes, that would just be ridiculous. That would be way too many episodes. I would end up hitting like part 100 and I'd get very tired of it very quickly. So I will probably record those in 1 or maybe even 2-hour chunks. I mean, to help with the storage space too, Legend of Dragoon is a really old PS1 Final Fantasy-like game with questionable graphics. I don't need to be recording in the resolution I'm recording now. And luckily to be easier to set up because I don't need to create some sort of tracker or anything. It's a pretty linear game. If you see where I'm at and you know the game, you kind of know what's going on, where it's headed, and what I got. So yeah. And eventually, once gaming picks up a bit, I'm thinking I want to take up a bit on the theory side. And I use the word theory pretty lightly, because what I mean by theory is more like calculations. Like, I'm not that person. I'm a game lore person. I enjoy story. I like reading all the blog books to figure out what's going on where. Oh, I'll get back to that in a second. It's time to see what's inside the Gerudo's training ground now that all that fighting is done. And da-da-da-dun. It's the Forest Temple. Now with the Forest Temple, you can easily tell that this is Master Quest because there's not a gold Skulltula on this wall. Instead, there's just regular Skulltulas. And you'll see a pro gamer move in just a second. It was completely intentional and I didn't just miss with the hook shot. Boom. Exactly as planned. 10 out of 10. And there's also not a chest up there. It's a switch that drops a chest. It's pretty redundant. But you know what? It's what it is. I also decide to not go through the Forest Temple quite yet because I do have 30 Skulltulas and I don't have the bow, so there's not a lot of point in me continuing in here. So let's go find out what's inside the Skulltula house. Boom! I got Zelda's Lullaby. Literally the best thing I could have hoped for. Why? Because that means I can go to the grave in the graveyard. I can go to Zora's Domain as both child and adult Link, which will help free up that Rudo's letter so I can get an empty bottle. Which means I can start carrying stuff again like bugs and go into soft soil patches and carrying healths and fairies so I'm not dying all the time. It also means I can go a lot further in the water temple now because I can actually raise and lower the water levels. And I already have the hook shot. All I need for the water temple is more keys, because I think I already used the one key I had. Now then, the exciting part about that is I'm very excited to go fight Dark Link on quad damage. For that one, I'm probably going to have a death counter, because I know there's ways to cheese that fight. But I don't like cheesing the Dark Link fight. It's one of my favorite fights in the game, so I will try to fight him fair and square. So be prepared for me to die a lot. There will be a death counter. In fact, I should probably go through and count how many deaths I've had up until now. Maybe I'll wait until after that, and then I'll start the death counter for that fight there. Heck, there's another one right here. I died to a simple keys. Imagine that. Probably should have paid attention to my health more. Oh, now so I was saying before, I don't need to record Legend of Dragoon at a very high resolution because the game is an old PS1 game. So that'll help save on storage space as I record in literal hour sessions. Because if it were 20-minute episodes, some of the episodes would literally just be the cutscene. Now, my only worry with that is that I'm still going to have to save state often. I'm not going to abuse it, but I will need it because there are parts of the loading screen where the game doesn't load right, and it just turns into a black screen. So I will need to load my save state, save and quit the game at a save point, and then load it in normally as if I were opening it for like a disk instead of loading the save state. Some of the load points can do that, and it's really annoying, and vice versa. Sometimes I'll need to save state and then just load the save state again for a glitched out enemy or something. I don't know, the PS1 emulator's not the greatest. Anyway, so let's see what I get for the Sun Song. Boom. More health. Woo! Alright, now that I've cleared out the grave after just getting Zelda's Lullaby, my plan is to go back to the Forest Temple, just see what I can do there and what I will need. Because I have a boss key, I got 2 small keys. I don't have a bow, but I have a hook shot, which a long shot at that, which is something. And I got the Song of Time in Zelda's Lullaby, so let's go see what I can do. Fortunately, it's 10 rupees to enter the Forest Temple every time, which is where the 50 rupees I got earlier comes in. Alright. Also, this was supposed to be a much longer episode. Because I couldn't remember all of my talking points for this episode, because it's all chipmunk voice, I decided to cut a lot of the walking. I actually had quite a bit to talk about, which I pretty much summarized all over this video. I'm not a good commentator. I apologize. It's much easier to talk while recording, even if it loses my focus, than it is to commentate on something I've already done and becomes spoiler-free. But my goal at this point is, after the Forest Temple, it'll be time to enter the desert, because I can still navigate it. I have the Lens of Truth. I have the money for the magic carpet guy. I have Din's Fire for the torches. I have the long shot to grab the Skulltula that's in there. I have Zelda's Lullaby for the Great Fairy there. But as I mentioned, I don't have Requiem of Spirit. So the only issue with that is if I want to go there, I'd have to walk there every time. Luckily, through the power of editing, I can save you all that if it ends up coming to that. I'm going to try to avoid that because there's so much I can do here. Now, when I first walked into this room, I was thinking it was normal for a second, and that I was going to have to fight Stalfos. Instead, it's just good old Wolfos. They're much easier to deal with, and I don't have to worry about them on quad damage. Been grabbing a decent amount of health in this episode, too. Getting an extra heart container from Heart Pieces was nice. And a Deku Nut upgrade is also nice, but it's not as necessary as it was in the beginning of the game. What I'm surprised I haven't found yet was any heart containers. Because there's, what, 8 different heart containers to get total? And I have found 0 of them. Granted, the percentage of that's still pretty low because there's still 70 Skulltula tokens left. Oh gosh. One of the items I truly need still, I mean, having Zelda's Lullaby is great and all, but I still need the Silver Scale, because that'll allow me to get the slingshot that's under Hylia Lake, unless it's a fake ice trap in the slingshot somewhere else. And I still really want the Goron bracelet. And here was an unexpected Stalfos I wasn't expecting to fight at the time, so cheese strats, and they let me down and I die anyways. So rematch. Alright. Now that that fight's over, I forget how to puzzle. Especially this room. I think it was the hardest room for me ever in any of the Master Quest dungeons. Except Bottom of the Well. I think Bottom of the Well was pretty confusing to me, but we already know that's normal based off the start menu A button press thingy. What I failed to realize in this room is that the blocks you have to push, yeah, they still want you to have the Goron bracelet. It's very unfortunate. Normally, before you even turn into Adult Link, you know, you got the Goron bracelet from doing Dodongo's Cavern. I mean, so you can do Dodongo's Cavern. So, it's kind of weird how they programmed that the blocks need to have the Goron bracelet. God, I want the Silver Gauntlets, though, so I can do the Spirit Temple. There's a lot of chests in the Spirit Temple, even if it's not Master Quest. Anyways, it is time to go into the desert. Usually, even in a basic randomizer playthrough, I don't go through here. However, for once, I actually have all the pieces to get in there and not have Requiem. Usually, I have Requiem or something by this point, so I get to bypass all this. But thinking on it, there's the carpet, there's the Skulltula, and there's a chest. That's 3 items in here, which is, at mid to late stage randomizer, is pretty dang useful. What I truly need at this point, too, I need everything. I mean, I shouldn't be greedy. I just got Zelda's Lullaby this episode. But I want warp songs, too, so I don't have to keep walking around. But yeah. Anyways, I think this would be a good chance to talk about plans for this channel beyond Legend of Dragoon and the theory thing I mentioned. I'm not going to do the theory thing probably anytime soon. That's something I want to do after I get myself familiarized with the whatchamacallit, YouTube in general. So for now, it's just going to be more Let's Plays. They're a lot easier. I don't have to dedicate as much time to it. But I do want to do them. Now, the game after Legend of Dragoon, I'm trying to think, because I want to play new games I haven't played before, so I can get a feel for it. The whole point of Legend of Dragoon is, yes, I have played it, but it'll give me a chance to do some voice acting. I know in Legend of Dragoon, the cutscenes voice acting is something a little less than desirable. Oh, I should also point out, I left the magic carpet, man, because I realized I needed the hover boots to get there, or some weird bomb jump thingy that I wasn't willing to do at 3 hearts. Yeah, so Legend of Dragoon will give me a chance to do something more than commentate on what I'm doing, and give me a chance to do some acting, as well as describe what I'm doing. Something to fill content. And this Skulltula yields the exact item I was missing just moments ago. Ain't that convenient? Oh, but I was thinking Undertale but I've already played and beaten that. I almost got a record for Undertale before all the speedrunners found all the glitches. Because I got a near-perfect genocide run. RNG blessed. Was able to beat Undyne and Sans without dying once. It was very close. I think it was only like 3 minutes off at the current time world record. I mean, not at the current time. At the time I played it, the world record was still pretty out there because the game was new. Now it's way less than my time was like 50 minutes over. Yeah. I also realized at this point that this guy only sells bomb shoes. In the Randomizer 6.0 that came out, he is now randomized. Imagine that. Convenience factors. Oh, another thing about Randomizer 6.0 is that they've seriously revamped some of the cosmetic updates. Like customizing the B button, the A button, the C buttons, rupees. I mean, I'm not sure about rupees. I didn't look too far into it. But they did a lot more to it. Luckily, I don't care too much about the colors. It's just fun to do something different than the normal ones. But still, they put a lot of work into it, and I am thoroughly impressed. It will randomize it all again. Let's see, what else did I not mention about 6.0? Oh, they've also randomized the starting warp locations, too, of all things. So, for example, Adult Link normally would start in the Temple of Time. If he dies, saves and quits and reloads. And Young Link is in the Kokiri Forest at his house. Yeah, that got randomized too in the 6.0 release. So I'm kind of curious to see how that will change what happens. I didn't look far enough into it to determine if it's randomized every time or if it's randomized for that seed just once. Like, if I die, do I spawn at Lake Hylia instead of the Temple Time? Am I at Lake Hylia every time, or am I at a different place every time? Questions. Anyways, having Zelda Lullaby allows me to go to Great Fairy Fountains too. So, in the future episodes, when I'm back to playing as I go instead of commentating voiceovers, I'll be able to do a lot more. I'm excited. Boom. I'm actually not too far off on the Triforce shards, especially now that I have a lot more chests to go get. I want to know how many dungeons I can beat before I get all the Triforce shards. Because there's only 11 left, and I do have the settings on scarce. I double-checked after I left and even put the settings up in the first episode. Oh, and yeah, there you can see a little rewind blip because the game froze. When you play RetroArch long enough, sometimes it can glitch out like that, especially with the plugin I'm using. Normally I would use the one that would make it full screen, but it's not very tracker friendly. So I decided to go with the square one, and for RetroArch for some reason it has some problems. In here, you see that the Spirit Temple is Tatanga's Cavern, and I am well equipped to do this, even without the bracelet. But I'll leave that for the next episode when I can actually record properly. So until then, see y'all.